This is a TF2 Iceberg shot made by the user u/moonclock over on Reddit. The link will be in the description. I would also like to pardon myself in advance, as English is not my native language, and I'm Polish, so that makes the language gap even greater, and so I can, as well as I probably will, mispronounce several words. If you don't know what an iceberg is, we will begin at the top, containing the most well-known pieces of information regarding the topic we're talking about, and then slowly go lower and lower, getting to the topics that are less and less known, eventually stopping at things only a small handful of people will know. The video will probably be divided into multiple parts, as the entire chart is basically so long to the point that I wouldn't be surprised if explaining the entire thing would take up to 5 or 6 hours. Because of the same reason, I will probably not be explaining everything, just because some of the entries are so utterly obvious that explaining them would make me a waste of oxygen. Also, don't expect me to talk about dumb shit and unfunny memes that have been pushed everywhere as something quote-unquote funny, as I do really want to preserve the little sanity I've got left. So, gentlemen, and probably more gentlemen, let's get to the video. To the surprise of nobody who played the game at least once, Team Fortress 2 is currently a free-to-play game, and I'm putting a very big focus on the word currently, as before the Uber update back in 2011, the game was actually pay-to-play. It was priced about the same as CSGO before it too became available for free, which was 15 bucks. The game becoming free-to-play is probably the sole reason as to why is it still alive. TF2 is a heavily stylized game, although it used to be even more cartoonish. The thing about TF2 is that it was released back when Valve actually worked on Source Engine and actually gave a fuck about their games, especially the multiplayer ones. Because of the journey that TF2's version of Source Engine went through, a lot of visual things changed, most noticeably the tune shader, explosion VFX, and muzzle fire of the minigun, which wasn't even an actual particle effect, but instead a mesh with material applied to make it glow. Meet the Class entry refers to the entirety of the Meet the Team animation series released by Valve on their official YouTube channel about a year or so after the game's release. It was made so that the classes alongside the personalities would be introduced to the players. These videos were also promotional material for Source Filmmaker software they were about to release. Fanarts and all sorts of community creations of the players were always what made the TF2's community so lively. It was a part of it ever since its initial release, with the first quote-unquote shitpost being the Charging Doctor voicebind, and the Stout Shack offer to refine Machinima, which everyone seemingly forgot about. Now, believe me or not, but back in 2016, with the initial release of Overwatch, there were people who genuinely believed that Overwatch was a better game. And that's really about it. The opinion solidified with Overwatch 2 replacing the original game, falling off so hard to the point where the game's porn is actually better than gameplay. Gmod and SFM is what people use to create animations and scenes. Gmod is a Half-Life 2 mod, which became a standalone game and is most often used for all sorts of silly shit and shitposts, while SFM is a piece of software released by Valve used to make animations and scenes that are more or less serious projects. ARGs, on the other hand, is what I would personally call a trend. It's literally what you may think it is. Treating TF2 as if it was either real, or treating it as if it was haunted or some shit. Either way, the whole trend is extremely boring and lazy. You can make a video like this in a span of 20 minutes or so, because most of them are just a bunch of random in-game screenshots with 5000 CapCut VHS effects applied and corny storytelling. 15.dev, formerly 15.ai, is a website hosting text-to-speech synthesizer. It was heavily overused to make unfunny TF2 skits, although it did allow you to synthesize voices of characters from different franchises too. The website itself fell victim to the devs being bronies.
Nigga, what the fuck?
And as of now, it only lets you synthesize the voice of some random rainbow horses. It is seemingly broken too, as for instance, the login gate does not work anymore. The Heavy's Dead is an animation made by already well-known Garry's Mod animator, Delek. If you don't really recognize that name from, well, anything but Heavy's Dead, hearing that it's the same dude that made That Medic is Loud and Ugly and The World's Smallest Coffee Cup may clear your memory a bit. And of course, the Gorgeous Freeman, that's a classic one, quite literally. Either way, yeah, it's a shitpost which somehow went out of the bounds of TF2's community, becoming the first mainstream meme with its roots being TF2 in a few solid years, to be fair. It has become so popular, in fact, that even the voice actors of the characters reacted to it, and also recreated the whole thing too. Red being Reliable Excavation Demolition and Blue being Builders League United are the two teams of TF Industries company fighting each other in TF2. In the lore of the game, Red mercenaries hired by Redmond Man are fighting Blue mercenaries hired by Redmond's brother, Blue Torch Man, over the terrain left for them by their father, Zefeniach Man, for them to either share or split it. Of course, both want all of it, or at least most of the terrain, despite it being basically a useless piece of land that their father bought because of his son's cravings. I will not be getting more into the lore as it's not that kind of video, so let's just move on at this point. Random crits are a mechanic in TF2, which makes eligible weapons deal 300% of the base weapon damage, alongside ignoring the damage distance drop-off. Fast-firing weapons, this being pistols, SMGs or flamethrowers, because they are, well, fast-firing, get crits for a specific period of time, instead of how it is with slow-firing weapons, that being, for instance, revolvers or rocket launchers, that get random crit per fire. The chance of random crit ranges from 2 to 12%, depending on how much damage you've dealt recently. The random crit system is more criticized than not, as it makes the luck factor a lot more important than some people think it should be, especially considering that the players love random crits only if it's them that are blessed by RNG gods. NVM is TF2's only PvE focused game mode. In it, you're meant to defend the bomb drop point from waves of robots that canonically are deployed by the third man brother, being Grey Men. The game mode itself is rather niche. Needless to say, it's definitely not the main selling point of TF2, although it is a good alternative if you get bored of pubs or community servers. NVM is also the only way to get Australian drops, excluding of course just buying them off market or trading for them. Although these stores do require a Tour of Duty ticket that are about 80 cents per piece, and also do require a few of them to finish a tour, after which you have a pretty low chance of getting an Australian drop. Yeah, you will be better off just buying a piece. There's also the bootcamp mode, which is free but provides no drops and is generally inhabited by absolute shit for heads. Team Fabulous 2 is a TF2 animation made in Garry's Mod by an animator known as Kitio706. It's genuinely insanely well made for the year it was released in, with, I feel, some elements made poorly by choice. I would recommend everyone watching it, as it's still funny even nowadays. There was also a reanimated version of this, made in organized collaboration of many animators, simply called Team Fabulous 2 Reanimated. Give it a watch too. Sandwich is a secondary for heavy you can eat to regain health. Surprisingly enough, the sandwich item would receive its own Meet the Team style trailer for some reason. The sandwich item is also oftentimes associated with friendlies, which are players that either refuse to fight completely or just fight the people who aggravate them first, later crying over being killed in a PvP game. With the game being highly cartoonish, it's pretty obvious that weapons alongside map props or player models will not be realistic. This is visible at first glance when you take a look at the weapons designs. While the weapons oftentimes are based on real-life arms, the weapon models are asymmetrical, oversized, with features being oversaturated, only loosely being inspired by the real thing. Example, the stock rocket launcher's rear funnel-looking part is absolutely fucking huge, and while it does somewhat resembles RPG-7 the weapon was based on, it is a very loose inspiration, which is exactly what the game's art style makes you expect. It's just a feature that makes sense in a game like Team Fortress 2. Put those weapons anywhere else and it will feel stupid and out of place. Pyroland view is the vision through the shades of which Pyro supposedly sees everything all the time. It's a caricature of the real world, with guts and blood being replaced by balloons and confetti. The Pyroland view can be accessed by every class, by using Pyrovision goggles, or as well as using Rainblower or Lollichop, which are however Pyro's exclusive weapons. Some people actually prefer to play in Pyroland because of the flamethrower and explosion particles being less obstructive, although then there is this annoying vignette obstructing the size of your screen. Ubercharge is what Medic collects on his minigun by healing teammates. Different miniguns have different Ubercharge effects, such as stock giving immortality, quick fix making the heal rate extremely high, as well as making you and the person you heal receive no knockback from either explosions or air blasts, or Chris Creek giving the person you heal 100% guaranteed crits. The war of free-to-plays versus pay-to-plays is pretty old and no longer a thing really. It was really problematic back in like 2017 or 2018 when free-to-plays were seemingly utterly retarded. Low ranks and people with no cosmetics, or these who had only the achievement cosmetics such as Gibbous or Pyrovision goggles, were oftentimes kicked out of casual servers, also being heavily insulted whilst the voting system was sealing their fate. TF2 Wiki is currently the best source of knowledge regarding the game. It was created back in 2007 and is still updated to this very day. It's sometimes really fun to just chill out for once and search through the wiki in search of some random information that you never really know about. Other than that, it's well, just a regular game dedicated wiki site, the same thing you would expect any successful and popular game to have. And so, we've came to the end of this video. This was just the first layer, as I'm really afraid that if I were to force myself to make the video include layer 2 and 3, as I've wanted at first, I would get so discouraged to the point of throwing the whole video idea into the trash. And that's especially because, well, I'm not very experienced with video editing, and it all took me a very big chunk of time. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and a comment, as this would be the best reward I could possibly get, considering how, despite what it seems, there was a lot of retakes and editing involved. And like I said, it all generally took me a decent chunk of time, especially that I have, well, very little time recently, as I'm working on getting myself a driving license. Consider subscribing too, so that when I hopefully finish the other part before the release of GTA 6, you will surely know it. As for now, peace out.